Sarah, are you with us?
Yes, I just hit record.
Okay, great. So I have 8 o'clock. You want to get started?
Yes.
All right, everyone. Hi, Monica. How are you?
Yay! How are you guys?
Good, good. All right, everyone, we're going to jump right in. I know people have places to be this evening and lots of work to still do, so I'm going to start. Welcome to the webinar on Train the Trainer. My name is Peggy Stewart, and I've been working with NSTOY on the teacher leader modules, professional development modules that we've been doing. So welcome. Glad you could join us this evening.
Thank you.
We want to start with just explaining the purpose of this webinar. So the purpose is really to get you ready for the face-to-face meeting in April, to talk about a little bit of background on the modules that we've created, and to get you ready for our face-to-face in St. Louis so that we can make the best use of that time. We shouldn't be on tonight more than, I'm thinking, 40-45 minutes. I think we'll do it. So if you can hang in there for that amount of time, that would be great. And I would like to ask each of you if you would introduce yourselves, and just please, if you could say your name and whatever current role or position you're doing, and maybe one word, if you feel like it, that describes your day. I will begin. Mine is achy. That's all I'm going to say. So if I could now ask Monica, if you would introduce yourself, please.
Yes. So I am Monica Washington. I teach English in Texas. And right now I'm still full-time teaching, but I'm also doing a little bit of traveling and speaking to teachers. And a word to describe my day is snow. Snow day today.
Thank you. And Jamela, hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Good, nice to see you. If you could introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Jamela Coase, and I am currently a field supervisor for pre-service teachers, and I work closely with our professional development school system, with the K-12 system and the link between the university. A word to describe my day would be eventful.
Okay, very good. Could mean busy in a lot of ways. Excellent, thank you. Maddie.
I am Maddie Fennell. I am in a hybrid role this year, half-time as a literacy coach at a little slice of heaven called Miller Park Elementary in Omaha, Nebraska, and the other half of the time running around the country for the U.S. Department of Ed as a teaching ambassador fellow. And a word to describe my day, hectic.
Okay, thank you. Alex.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alex Caggiatani. I'm a middle school math teacher, but I'm spending the year speaking and writing and putting on professional development for teachers. And my day is all about time management these days.
Mm-hmm. Thank you and welcome.
Did you read Justin's article?
What's that?
Alex, did you read Justin's blog about time and taking time management?
No, I didn't have time to read that.
Smart ass.
Well, welcome, Alex. And Brett.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Oh,
hi.
good. This is Brett Bigham. I'm from Oregon. I teach special education, a jobs training program, and a medically fragile classroom. And a word to describe my day. Stressful.
Okay, well, thank you. Welcome. Okay, how about Danielle?
Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle, and I am currently in my classroom at the University of Mary Washington. I just finished up with my students and teaching them about equity in the classroom. It's quite exciting. And I also do professional learning through ASCD, but my word to describe my day has been anticipation of getting new employment. So I start a new job on Monday with EduTech. So also doing professional learning. So exciting.
Excellent. Good luck. Welcome.
Thanks.
How about Josh?
Hi, I'm Joshua Parker, and I'm a compliance specialist in the Office of Title I. I want to say what's up to my guy, Tim Dove, from our class. What's up, Tim? And basically, a word to describe my day would be very promising. Some things I've been working on, and some moves I want to make, and things are looking very promising.
It's good to hear. Great, welcome. And how about Tim?
My name's Tim Dove, and I was a middle school teacher for 32 years, and then last year I've been working with CCSSO with the Eastern region on a whole host of different initiatives.
Welcome. You look too young to have done it for 32 years. That's all I'm saying. All right. And Marguerite.
Hi, everybody. I'm Marguerite. I teach 5th grade English language arts, and I lead the professional development in my district, and I teach college at night. Everything's good.
All right.
My day was fine.
Welcome. And Joe?
Joe Fothering, I teach language arts, technology, history at Effingham High School. Helping develop this training that we're doing right now for NNSTOY, and I would say the word for the day would be fun.
Excellent. Welcome. And Sarah?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah White-Delhoy. I'm the communications manager with NNSTOY. Thanks for joining us tonight, and I would describe my day as full.
Okay, great. Thank you. Did I miss anyone?
I'm here. This is Chris Poulis.
Hi, Chris. Welcome.
Hey, Chris. Hey. Just a quick intro, I guess. I'm Chris Poulis, and I split my time between teaching high school Spanish and working as a teacher in residence at the Connecticut State Department of Ed.
Welcome. Well, I appreciate all of you being here this evening. I'm very excited about the work that we've been doing and glad that you're sharing an interest in wanting to join. The agenda for tonight is to talk a little bit about the background of NNSTOY'S Teacher Leadership Program. Joe is going to walk us through that. And then I will do an overview of the modules, one that's completed and one that's currently being completed within the next few months. Joe will talk about the financial terms that are associated with being a trainer for these professional development modules. And then we'll look at the next steps. I will be talking about reading materials and other materials to prepare you for St. Louis, and Joe will be handling any of the logistical questions about the travel arrangements that you'll need. Sarah is recording the video, so in case or the webinar, in case there's any questions, you can go back, or someone that isn't with us tonight can look at this also. And if you have any questions, I'd ask you to hold them. We'll pause several times throughout. If you could just jot your questions down. And also there's a chat function if you want to jot any questions down in the chat, or communicate it all through that, and then Sarah will save that for us as well. So with that, I'm going to ask Joe if he would talk about the backgrounds on the program.
Yeah, and this is probably a 2-minute pitch or less. NNSTOY and many of its people have been involved in development of the teacher leader model standards, and we, over the last couple of years, Peggy, Alex, Catherine, and myself have been developing training that some of you have already been involved in. Peggy, I don't have off the top of my head, but we've been at numerous places around the country. I know Peggy and Catherine were just back in Hawaii, they were in Phoenix. Alex, I think you were there as well. And we're going to end up having 7 different modules after we get this all said and done. And in addition to that, there's a formal training where you would go set up and do PD. We're also working on the technology piece where a group would go through, and X number of weeks later, we would come back and do follow-up pieces of it. And what we found out is we're just running out of bodies. We've got people traveling all over the place, and there's a tremendous demand for this. I know Maddie knows this from the Teach the Lead project that she's doing with the DOE. And so we've got to make sure that we have talented people that understand the brand and the messaging that we're putting in. We're trying to develop modules that really help grow teacher leaders, and at the same time, it will allow you to be able to utilize your personalities and your life experiences to help make those really rich sessions. With that, there obviously comes a certain degree of working together to make sure that we don't lose the brand and the messaging, and that's what's going to be in St. Louis. So tonight, we want to just give you a quick overview of kind of what we're starting on, and Peggy's going to give you some background on it and then some homework to do. You can be really prepped to walk in the door in St. Louis and really empower you with the skills you need to be the trainers that we know you can be.
Thank you, Joe. So to follow up on that, so far, this is an overview of the modules we've created. Module 1 is based on the Teacher Leader Model Standards Domain 1, fostering collaborative culture to support educator development and student learning. That module was created by Catherine Bassett, Alex Cacciatani, Joe, and me. We all got together for probably the course of a half a year to create this, and then began to go out and pilot it. We piloted it at an ESET conference in New Orleans, in Snowbird, a full day's module in New Jersey, and each time we piloted it, we took the participants' responses, which were different types of groups. So we really took all of their feedback and tweaked the unit, the module, to make it even better. That one's completed, and we've been going out. We've created a brochure, marketed this one, and that's what we've been going out delivering, that piece of the training. And module 2, we're currently developing. That's Catherine Bassett. I'm working with Catherine and Megan Allen on creating this module on promoting professional learning, which is Teacher Leadership Domain 3. Just to give you an idea, our work is based on the Teacher Leader Model Standards. And there's a reason for that. It was designed around something that's already got national audience and national buy-in on some level. People from all over the nation and different education stakeholders have invested in these standards. So in 2008, just to give you a background on that, a core group met under Catherine Bassett's leadership at ETS in Princeton, New Jersey, to talk about, the research around teacher leadership and critical roles teacher leaders play. So that was in May, and what this small group decided was that we've got to go further. This is an opening field. It's a really significant field. So by August, the group expanded. Overall, there were about 50 people that played a role in developing these standards from all around the nation. And when they expanded the group, they also expanded the mission. The mission became, look, we've got to develop standards that people can begin to use to say, what does a teacher leader do? What does teacher leadership look like? So by March of 2010, the draft standards were released to the public, and feedback was given, and then they were tweaked and published. So these standards are the foundation for the work that we do. So the purpose of these standards was just that, to look at the knowledge, the skills, and the competencies that teachers need. What does that look like? And if you think for a minute back from 2008, that's a new field. There was not a lot on that. We had some research to look at, but this was really pretty forward-thinking work. And the process that was used by Catherine's leadership was to bring this broad group together. And here's a list of all the different types of stakeholders that came together so that we could really see, what does teacher leadership look like from a state level, a school level, an administrative level, a teacher level. And the teacher leaders that were there, I was part of that group, and Marguerite was also part of that group. She was one of the teacher leaders that worked on this. So Marguerite, certainly as we go through this, if there's anything that you think is important, please bring this out. But this is just, again, to show you this process that went on of all of these people coming together, and there's a list here for you just to see how diverse nationwide and as far as the roles that people played in developing those standards. And one thing we looked at when we were developing the standards is, what is teacher leadership? And I'm sharing this here tonight because we determined that we used this definition from Jennifer York Barr to design the standards. And we also used this definition to create our module. So we open our module with a section on leadership, and then we use Jennifer York Barr's definition on teacher leadership. Jennifer York Barr is from University of Minnesota, and she's really been a leading voice in teacher leadership. So you'll see this when you get the PowerPoint and look at our module that's developed. And the second thing we looked at is, why teacher leadership? This is also embedded within our presentation, so I wanted to just draw your attention to the background. We didn't, this is based on research. We used Richard Ingersoll's research about why teacher leadership, and we have a piece in there about, teacher retention and job satisfaction and so forth. And the last part of this process is, again, why teacher leadership, what teachers say they need. So we've incorporated some of this into our module as well. And I'm going quickly. This is all there for you to look at, but I wanted you to see that these are developed based on research. Our modules are based on research and around the teacher leader model standards. And we explored, where do teacher leaders fit in? Where do you fit with teachers and administrators in your big organizational context? This piece is also embedded into our module. When we look at organizational structures and the types of leadership and hierarchies we have in the workplace, we look at the role of teacher leaders. And questions that we explored were, what's the difference between effective teachers and teacher leaders? And we have a piece also embedded in our modules about, we call it the shift from great teacher to teacher leader. What's needed to make that shift? And again, we based it on the work of these teacher leader model standards. Just so you know, Sarah is going to send you the link to the standards. There's a link there as well, but she's going to send you all of the materials so you can take a look at them, because this is one piece that you should be familiar with when you come to St. Louis. You know, what are they for? How are they designed, etc. And I think this is my last piece on the standards, just to give you the background, but the standards are organized around 7 broad statements or domains. And we chose to build our first module around domain 1, because if you look at domain 1, it's about fostering a collaborative culture to support educator development and student learning. No matter what a teacher leader does, they have to be able to collaborate and foster that culture of collaboration and facilitation. So we decided to start with that one in particular. And then we jumped to domain 3 for a few reasons. One, it fits well with NNSTOY'S strategic plan. It also fits well with universities who are trying to develop some of their programs. And many teachers in the field are starting to lead professional development within their districts and their schools. So it felt like there was a real need to be able to bring this out as well. So I'm going to pause there for a minute. I gave you a lot on just some background on the standards to show you that there is almost a common language that emerges when you begin to use the standards, and that's why we built on that for our module. Do you have any questions before I go into the background on the presentation itself? And Marguerite, did I leave anything out that you feel is important?
No, you didn't mention the quiz, though, that we're going to give them, right? Standards back and forth. Just kidding.
All right. You can always contact me as you have time to look through this, and you'll get the standards booklet so you can read through it. But we wanted to set the stage for, there's a real research basis for the modules, okay? So moving forward, this is the presentation that we've created, just the title slide. We present teachers leading. And we always include all of the presenters. We generally have 2 or 3. It's been Catherine and me and Alex, which make a great team. So, you know, we will be looking for changing this around so that all of our presenters are able to just put their picture in and their information and move forward. Joe mentioned to you that part of what we're doing is looking at the branding, right, and marketing for NSTOY. So when we open our presentations, we include a piece about the mission and vision of NSTOY, you know, really working in the areas of policy, practice, and advocacy. So part of what we're doing when we go out to do this is work on teacher leadership, but really show NSTOY's connection to how it's working to advance the conversation for teacher leaders. And we always include a piece about Twitter, because we want to really, as Alex said the other day, amplify the conversation and be able to, again, use the hashtag for NSTOY so that we can make sure that we're also, as we're presenting, getting this voice out there, whatever's going on, is reaching our social media as well. We open the part right after the social media piece, we go into a generic version of leadership. So before we get into domain 1 and what it's really about, facilitation and collaboration, we set them up with an overview of leadership. What is it? We have examples of a quote from Bill Clinton, we have Michael Fullen, and then we bring it to Jennifer York Bars, all based around these standards. But what I wanted you to realize is when you get the materials from us, what you'll receive is a Mount Everest case study. This is a leadership case study that Marguerite and I did up at Harvard, and it comes from the Harvard Business School. It's a wonderful, wonderful case study that really has us examine, three things. We look at what are the goals, what were the challenges, and what were the turning points. Those are the three lenses we use for using the Mount Everest case study, because then we again repeat that when we're looking at teacher leadership. So you'll receive the Mount Everest case study. So before you come to St. Louis, we would ask that you also read that case study so we can go through it, and it's a really exciting, fun case study to do. And we leave them with the, why did the mission ultimately fail, and what lessons in leadership can we learn from this that we can transfer to our practice? So that's how we set up the first part of our presentation. So you'll need to make sure that you've read the Everest case study. That's the second reading. The module itself, the skills required to create real change, it's divided into 3 sections built around domain 1. And this can be done as one full day workshop, or it can be done as half day workshops, or it can be done as 3 2-hour workshops. So we have organized our modules so that they can be done in several ways, so we can accommodate the needs within schools and districts. So this one starts with leading adult learners, because that's the foundation for whatever a teacher leader is going to do. So we do a little bit on research about what it's like to work with adults instead of working with kids, and what you need to know about working with adults. That's the first 2-hour module. And the second part we do is, once you've learned how to work with adults, how do you begin to look at what a highly effective team is? How do you facilitate a highly effective team, etc.? That's the second 2-hour segment of our module. And then the third one, with that, we also do a second case study, and you'll receive this case study to read as well. It's called Seeking Clarity of Instruction. This comes from, I don't know if you're familiar with Kitty Bowles or Vivian Chowan, but 2 wonderful women. I think Kitty's from Harvard, and Margaret, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Vivian's from Brandeis. Does that sound right?
Yes, yeah.
And they have a book called The Power of Teams, The Power of Teacher Teams, and they shared a case study with us to use in this process. This is short, it's about 2 pages, and this brings us right into the school situation, and we use the same pattern. If you notice question 2, question 1, what's the goal? Question 2, what are the challenges? And question 3, what are the turning points? That's the pattern again that we did with Mount Everest, we repeat. So that's the third reading that you have. And the last segment is Drive Change Now, which is really about understanding our Leading for Change protocol, NNSTOY'S Leading for Change protocol. This is like a roadmap, if you will, of how to make change happen. In this section, we cover understanding the process of change, where change tends to break down, and we work through, I didn't realize that was like that. We help in the last 2 hours, they look at this protocol and understand how to plan and how to market and message their plan. And that's the last 2 hours that we do of the segment. And then we leave it again going back to NNSTOY, right? On continuing the conversation, connecting them to Facebook, connecting them to the website, etc. So that's, the PowerPoint presentation is quite long, but those are the key pieces, and those are the pieces that you'll have to read to prepare for when you come to St. Louis. And you will also get the PowerPoint from Sarah so that you can go through slide by slide and familiarize yourself with it before you get to St. Louis as well. Any questions on that? Again, no quiz, but you might have some questions. I'm not hearing any questions. You can also if they come to you later, you can email me and I'll be glad to talk about that. But that's the background on the module itself. Alex, anything you want to add?
The only thing that I would add is, as you look at the PowerPoint and things like that, remember it's really, although the PowerPoint is, what am I trying to say? Although the presentation has been created, there's room for, we're looking for your style and your way of delivery and really your personality, when you're doing the presenting. So, I would just say, remember to be thinking about how to kind of own this and make it yours also, because that's what we're really excited about, is like, we've never done the same presentation twice. It's always been a little bit different. That's what's made it a lot of fun.
Excellent. So we'll bring your personality into it as well. Okay. Joe?
Yeah, well, just a couple of things. One, I think that one of the pieces we are going to work on in St. Louis is doing exactly what Alex was talking about, where we ask you to go out and you find your voice for this, and you really, as Megan's putting on it right there, owning it, we really want your personality. We want to share your stories, and we want to show you how to carve and craft those in a way that we really hit the message hard. Secondly, I think the other piece is one of the most powerful things we do is create that action plan that really empowers these teachers to go back and make change in their building, and they really have to sit down and think about what their issues are and what they want to do. So I think that's a powerful piece that we want to do, or that we offer. And then I think from that, the piece that we haven't got to yet, but we're looking forward to, is the webinar technology follow-up extension, where we can come back with a group X number of weeks later, and as they've left the professional development training and they've went back and tried to employ it, what issues are they having? How can we help them? They can really find success down the road. And I'm about that. And I know Megan is using the platform for her master's degree program she's doing on leadership. And we spent quite a bit of time to Teach the Lead Summit in Boston helping craft that out. So Maddie, thanks for that time, by the way. On the financial terms, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about that tonight, other than the fact that here's what we're looking to. NSTOY charges for these modules to be delivered. We're going to work on a financial packet that will make sure they're paid well, and that will include expenses and everything like that. And then part of the funding will come back to NSTOY to help us continue to keep the organization up and going, and also to build these modules. It takes a lot of time and energy to put these things together, and we're just on the front end on it. But we'll have real specifics on those pieces when we get out there. I think the other thing to keep in mind, too, is that if Peggy and Tim would fly out to do a station somewhere and a district wants us to do follow-up, obviously we could have those two do it, big personal connections, but that's not always, in concrete way we look at it. It might be that Chris Poulos does a webinar, or Megan Allen, or anybody. So we're going to look at what our strengths are. That's something I want to make sure that we do, is survey your talents and figure out where we can best use you, so that we can really make sure when we're out there, we have districts where their mouth is left hanging. Seen PD like that before.
Excellent. As far as next steps, these are the readings that you'll receive from Sarah, all electronic links. The standards point module for one, and the brochure that we use as well, so that you can just familiarize yourself with this. And we're just ready to start our, really looking at bringing the best and helping NSTOY build this program. Questions? It's a quiet group. Joe, anything on the logistics?
Yeah, you'll be getting some information sometime in the next probably 2.5 weeks on the hotel and just what the shuttles and stuff will look like. If you haven't got your stuff booked yet, let me know. We need to get your flights booked and taken care of. As far as the evening goes, we're going to try to start everything promptly at 7 on Friday evening. So if you have any issues with flights, I know a couple people have problems, let me know. We'll try to work with that really hard all day Saturday. We'll do wrap up and we'll be finishing up around noon, but you should be planning on staying at noon. Chris and Megan, I will do a follow-up with you at some point. I know we've had you've also had dates where you couldn't be there, but we're going to get that taken care of and hopefully can train the two of you together. So.
Great. Well, you can always reach me. I think most of you have my email, but Sarah, when you send the materials out to everyone, will you just make sure my email's on there? So if there's any questions, you can do a follow-up with me. Anything else for the good of the order?
You want to just go around the room one time and see if anybody has any specific questions, Peggy, since we have such a quiet, muted group?
Yeah. All right. Want to start with Brett?
Well, first off, I'm sorry for the dog and cat show. I didn't realize I was filming. But I hope you all enjoyed it. That's what I get to see every night. No, I'm just really excited. I have a master's in special ed, but I have a bachelor's in speech, and I competed in speech all through school. So this is kind of the perfect blending of the two things I really like. So I'm looking forward to exploring this more.
Great, thank you. How about Chris?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the learning. I won't be able to make it to St. Louis because I'm going to be on school vacation with my family. But I do want to say to those there, I had the great honor of seeing the 6-hour training presented by Catherine and Peggy to a group of teachers of the year in Connecticut. And it was just so dynamic and fantastic. Every teacher has come back and said, this is exactly what I needed. People are doing things with the training already. So I'm just looking to be a part of the facilitation piece.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chris. It was really nice working with all the teachers there as well. They were a great group. How about Danielle?
I don't have any questions right now. I'm, again, just like everybody else, I think just looking forward to it. I'm really excited, and especially the part about bringing in the social media and the teachers leading. I like to amplify the conversation, so anything we can do for that is great to me. So
Great, thank you. And Dorina?
Oh, hi, everybody. I came in a little bit later. I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just so psyched for this because I did a very brief version of this with Catherine in Florida. And then I also have been doing teacher leader model standards professional development throughout the state of Florida, but not like this. And so I am proud to break from that, learn about this, and become one of these teacher leader trainers. And I'm just so excited about it because I'm going to take my background knowledge and make it even better. I'm just so excited.
Great. I'm looking forward to working with you, Dorina.
Thank you.
Okay, and how about Jamela?
Hey guys, I won't be able to make St. Louis, and I am extremely sad, especially after getting all of this information. So I really hope to be able to get trained and be able to join and contribute in any way I can. So
Okay, we'll miss you there, but looking forward to working with you. Thank you. And how about Josh?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
We can. Hi.
Okay. I'm just excited to be in the room, to be honest with you. So many great faces in this group, and I like the vision behind this as well. I think it's well constructed from what I can see, and it's well thought out, and I think the best types of PD are thoughtful. And so I'm just glad to be with the people on this call, to be honest with you, and whatever contribution I can give, helping people and teachers really understand how to lead is all that I can offer. I'm just glad to be in the room. That's all.
Thank you. Looking forward to working with you. And Maddie?
Hey guys, so wonderful, fabulous, looking forward to doing this. I've seen it done many times, so I think it's great. My questions are more logistical. I know that it can be quite a schlep from the airport to certain hotels in St. Louis. Should we be sending our travel stuff to Sarah, and will someone be coordinating travel from the airport to our hotel, or are we going to be staying at the hotel? And by the way, I have a new puppy too that's just sitting here on my lap. This is Gracie, and we are Gracie. She's a little doxy. I know it's kind of hard to see, but we are babysitting her for 3 months, so she will not get off my lap. Anyway, so that's my question. Should we be sending all of our flight stuff to Sarah, and will someone be coordinating transportation from the airport?
Yes, why don't you go ahead and send all of your flight stuff to Sarah so we know who's coming in and when. There's a shuttle running from the airport to the hotel. We'll get out times. I'm going to do a site visit on Monday, and after I go down and have a conversation with them, I'll have some more details with you on that. And yes, we are staying at the hotel, and they have an event room for us down there. We don't need much, and so we'll do all that. I'll get that out to you in the next couple of weeks, Maddie.
Thank you. How about Marguerite?
Hi, everybody. I am delighted. I think to be in this reverend right now, chatting with some, I'm a little distracted. The fact is that that Mount Everest study is phenomenal. It's really eye-opening. If for no other reason, just reading that is terrific. And look at TK's here. I love that guy. I'm so happy.
And Megan.
Oh, my face.
It's so nice to see everybody with your family. We're excited in St. Louis, but I can't wait.
Great. Thanks, Megan. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Awesome. How about
everybody? Extremely excited about this. Excited to be a part of this totally new initiative, but I'm program for the EDD and teacher leadership. All of this just kind of flows seamlessly, and that helps this, and that it all just works out, and I'm sure it will. And I cannot wait for St. Louis. One question: do school districts reach out to NSTOY and say, "Hey, we want this training," or does NSTOY market this and send out things to schools to say, "Hey, this is a PD that we can offer you. Are you interested?" How does that part work?
Joe?
Yeah, I'll step in on that. We want to talk about marketing this when you guys get there. That'll be a segment because it is important for us to understand who has networks and how we can tie into them. But we'll have all those materials together, and those of you who can't make it, I'll make sure that you get something as well. But yeah, we'll have a whole piece on that. But thanks for bringing it up.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Hi. I just got in from a real rough day at work. Our principal was promoted or shuffled, if you could put it that way, up to the head shed. Wow. And so I get to help choose the principal tomorrow, and our school's kind of falling apart. So I'm in a little bit of a heartbroken space. Wow. But I'm really excited to be part of this group. I see so many familiar, happy, wonderful faces, and I feel like I need to play catch up a little bit on I haven't done these readings. Has everybody done these readings?
No, these are the follow-up readings.
Okay, good, because I was panicked that I was way behind. I'm really excited to be in St. Louis. I had a really exciting thing happen last week. I had the good fortune to introduce Linda Darling Hammond before a speech on Thursday, and she said that one of the most important things we have to do is put up a really strong filter in front of PD offerings as the money rolls out, especially in California. To be able to afford PD, we have to have a very strong filter to make sure that what's being offered is not crap. And I said, I got the group for you. And I told her about NSTOY. I told her about the modules, and she was hungry for information. She said, I want it. I need it. Give me all the information you have. So she, you know, is starting her own think tank, and she could be the person to really make sure that this work gets into the hands of everybody that needs it. So I'm excited to be part of it.
Excellent. Thank you. Glad you can join us. And Tim.
So looking at the group of people, those of you that I already know, this is not a quiet group, so I was kind of laughing when you said, you know, this is such a quiet group. And those of you that know me know I'm definitely not a quiet person. I'm really psyched. When I first was given this invitation and I saw who was on this email, it was a done deal. And this is some of the most important work I think we can be doing right now that actually makes a difference for kids. And it'll definitely make a difference for teachers. So I'm really excited about the future of this. So thanks for inviting me.
Great. So glad you could join us. This is awesome. And TK, you're here.
I am. Sorry I'm late. The irony is that I was in training in my school district on how to have these kinds of calls with my students. So how strange is that? Apologize for being late. And I see that the recorded part, I'll be able to go back and refresh that. And I just have a travel question. I will be in St. Louis. I'm honored to be part of this group. This is awesome stuff. And I have stood next to Peggy in her presentations, and she's incredible, for those of you who haven't seen her. But I'm coming, I already made plans before this all came about to visit my folks for spring break in LA. What do I do to change my flight back home to St. Louis instead of coming back to the great state of Wisconsin?
That's a Joe question.
Okay, I can talk to Joe later about it then.
We'll talk offline, bud. We'll get it figured out.
Okay, great. And I'm glad you could join us. That's going to be awesome. And Alex.
Well, unfortunately, I will not be there either. We had a family vacation already set and planned, but I have had so much fun helping to design this and deliver it, and I learn from Peggy and Catherine every single time we're in the same room together. So I would just say have a blast and, you know, just go for it. I really think that this training is an opportunity to really shape the conversation around teacher leadership and elevate the profession. I believe in it wholeheartedly. So just.
Thanks. And, you know, time, you know, Terry, Joe, time we've done it, Alex said we did it differently because we go back and we go, what about it, and playing with it. Who reacts to it and well for it. I think that's for the questions, you know, where you can. I'm so looking forward to seeing the and contact Joe for any travel arrangements, and onward and upward. This is going to be great.
Peggy, thank you for doing this. I know you don't feel well. That was really nice.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Peggy.
Vitamin D.
Everybody.
Vitamin D.
Hi, Rebecca. See you, Marguerite.